Hi friends, my name is Sumitra Dudani and today we are going to discuss the book that is Rich Dad Poor Dad. We have come up with the idea of one book, 1 hour, that is we'll try to cover the book Rich Dad Poor Dad in today's session in the next 1 hour. So this is being presented by richer readers, and it is little interesting to know that the name itself has been inspired by the book. So we thought that when we are doing this virtual session, why not start with a book which is the inspiration behind our idea. Richer Readers is something which was started 3 years back in 2018, January 18. So over here we have 10 participants who will be coming up one by one, and they will be explaining their chapters respectively as they have prepared and assigned. And in case if anyone is having any point on which they do not agree to the participants, or they think that it can go in a different way, or what they are saying is different, you have a different viewpoint, definitely you can note it down. And then at the end of the session we'll have a question and answer round wherein you can ask, or you can cross question, or you can place your points. You just need to remember either the lesson number or the name of the participant, or what the person had spoken about, so that we can have a better discussion later. So let's start. First of all, if I talk about the introduction of the book, my name is Sumitra Dudani. On behalf of Richer Readers, I am presenting chapter 1. So, when I say about chapter 1, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the name itself suggests that we are talking about two dads. One is rich and the other is poor. And when we talk about rich dad or poor dad, what over here, there is the author Robert Kiyosaki. He says that he had two dads. And why this book is essential, or why we think that this book is something that we need to discuss about, is because, as the line itself says, what the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and the middle class do not. Why is it so that the rich are getting richer and the poor and middle are generally, or they generally remain at the same level until and unless they are getting themselves connected to their friends who are richer, or maybe to any acquaintance through the guidance of whom they can become richer. Otherwise, the normal tendency will be finding, as it is there in our generations, the same thing gets copied. It's just not because of the wealth that they carry, but it's also about the mental attitude that that our parents carry, or our ancestors carry, because of which we develop the same attitude. So, as the chapter 1 says, if I had only one dad, I would have had to accept or reject his advice. Generally, what happens is we have only one dad. That is the system, that is the nature how it works. And whatever is told to us from the very beginning, from our childhood, we generally agree to the same fact. If they say yes, we say yes. If they say no, we agree to it. So that is the general tendency we find. But because Robert Kiyosaki had two dads, one was rich and the other poor, and he valued the choice, and he valued both of them, and that is why he had to think twice to consider, like, which dad should he be answering to, or which dad should he be agreeing to, whether to the rich dad or to the poor dad. So he always used to compare whatever his dad used to tell him. He noticed that though both of them focused upon education, both of them said that education is very essential in our day to day life, and for our upbringing, and for whatever we want to do in our life. But still there were very minute differences which made the entire thing differ. So if I say the minute differences, it might seem minute, but the small things that we develop, that creates the entire change. Like if I say, for giving an example, if you do not have money, or if normal tendency that we have, we see something which is above our budget limit, or if our children is asking something from us, we may say that I cannot afford it. On the other hand, there are other people, or Robert is saying, referring to his other dad as rich dad, what he used to say is, though it is not affordable right now, but then how can I afford it? So he never, there, or we can say we have got two dads. One was pessimistic, the other was optimistic. Wherein one had settled his brain and wanted his child also to settle his brain, that we cannot dream of big things, so let's just settle for the things that we have with us. So poor dad had a general tendency of saying, I can't afford it. that actually turns out to bringing in mental laziness and financially weaker for the entire family. On the other hand, when we say or when we think that what can I do to make it affordable to my standards, our mental exercise begins, and that is the key to becoming financially stronger. In a similar way, like normally our parents would be teaching us, study hard so you can find a good company to work for. Even at school, even at colleges, we are taught to join internship everywhere. Behave politely, be disciplined, you'll have to work. How will you work in an organization? What will you do in future? So many questions are put upon the children, and they are trained in a way that we need to work very hard so that we can work for whom? For somebody else. On the other hand, the people who are actually willing to think little broader, what will the rich dad on the other hand suggest him is study hard so you can find a good company to buy. So as I had discussed in the beginning, both are emphasizing on the fact of study hard, but then in case of poor dad, he was focusing more on working for another person. But in case of rich dad, what he suggests is that we will be studying, but in a way so that we can buy a good company. We will be investing. On the other hand, in case of poor dad, his focus is more on saving. Similarly, if I say about poor dad, when it comes to money, play it safe. Don't take risk. Many of the students whom I ask, like, where do you invest? So they say, ma'am, I invest in a bank account or I have a savings account. I keep my money over there. If I see the SBI rate today, it is 2.7%. And if I say, like, normally if we say inflation rates, compared to the inflation rate, the rate of interest or rate of return that we get from the bank accounts is very less compared to what we would be expecting. So if we play safe, if we are always on the safer side, what will happen is we might not even be able to beat the inflation itself. So, where on the one hand, poor dad says that we should be playing safe, we should not be taking risk. Rich dad says that risk is something which is very natural to us. Risk is something that we cannot abstain from. If we say that no, I'll not be taking risk, that doesn't happen. Risk is something that comes in naturally. We do not call risk. Even in business, we do not want to take risk. Risk is something that will automatically happen. What we need to do is we need to learn to manage risk. So that is the perception or that is the concept that we see, that the basic concept, if we have it figured it out for ourselves, for our known ones, if our thoughts are clear, we can also become a rich dad even after belonging to a poor family. It all depends upon our mental thoughts and upbringing. The next thought that poor dad had is, the love of money is the root of all evil. Wherever we go, from the childhood, we are taught that we should not be focusing on money. Money is evil, money is bad. We should not be talking about money. In case somebody talks about money, we will be discouraging him. We would be saying, हर समय पैसा का बात करता रहता है. So that is the normal line that we use when we have to describe anybody, or when somebody is wanting to know about money, wanting to learn about money. This is the normal thing that we hear. But the other thing, what I believe, or what the rich dad has to say is, the lack of money is the root of all evil. If I have money with me, I'll be peace minded. I can think of various things. I can think of social service. I can think of doing my creative activities. But if I don't have money, I'll be struggling. I might have to opt for wrong deeds or wrong actions. So, in that way, if I say, it's not about the love of money being wrong, it's just about how we are using that. Are we helping the society, or are we just focusing on something which is not good for the society? So if we actually have the power of earning money, if we have that power, so we will not be required to do anything wrong. The moment we are not able to earn money, that time we go for wrong things. So this is it for chapter 1 introduction, wherein we saw that there was a differentiation being made between rich dad and poor dad. The next chapter, which is chapter 2, will be discussed by Gajendra Sharma. Hi Gajendra.
Hi. Okay. May I start?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. So, chapter two begins with a story, and first of all, I want to tell you that a story is a story, is his story or history if it has nothing, no relevance to you. So, let's live by this story and let's find if we can learn from this story. So, the story starts with two boys, Robert and Mike. Mike's father is rich dad, and Robert's father is poor dad. So they were going to school, and one friend of them came with a big car, and he took all his friends except Robert and Mike, right? So but because they were poor, so they were denied entry just because they were poor. So Robert and Mike were "Ei cholbe na, ei na cholbe." Up so they were like they wanted to be rich, how to be rich. So Robert went to his poor dad and asked how to be rich. So he said work hard. Probably that's what he knew. Yeah, that's what he knew only. So they thought, okay, we'll work hard. So Mike and Robert formed a partnership. They said, okay, we'll do something. They didn't know what we'll do, but they will do something. So they formed a partnership, and they collected toothpaste tubes, old toothpaste tubes, and did something horrible. So Robert's father saw this, and he saw the dedication of the children to learn. So he said, "Okay, I am very very proud of you, and I'll suggest you go to Mike's father, that is rich dad." So Mike said, "My father, he's poor. How can he teach us about money?" So he said, "No, no, no, you don't know. He's working on a big project, and within 2 3 years, he'll be the richest man in the city. You must go there." So they went there, but Mike's dad said, see, I'm not going to teach you in classroom basis. You don't imagine that I'm going to teach you in like I'll give you lecture, you will note it down, and that's not how it's going to work. I'll teach you like the way life teaches us. So if you are ready, so tell me. So he said okay. So he said okay, you have to work for me, otherwise I won't teach you. Oh, work for me? Yes, you have to work for me. Okay, I have one question. No question, don't waste my time. You have to work, take it or leave it. Okay, we'll take it. Okay, I'll give you 10 cents. You have to work for the Saturdays, and just work. Miss Martin will tell you about the work. So they did work for 3 Saturdays, and it was exploitation, total exploitation. 10 cents, total exploitation. After 3 weeks, Robert was frustrated. He said, "I'm not going to work. এগুলো চলবে না কিন্তু." He said, "I'm not going to work." So Mike was laughing. He asked Mike, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "Father asked you to meet when you are frustrated." So he was waiting to get frustrated. He said, maybe, who knows. So he went there, and he asked him to wait for 1 hour, and then he taught. This is the lesson that you must learn. That is the fear. You have come here. I'm really proud of you that you have mastered fear, because otherwise you won't have come. People get a job, they're frustrated, right? But they still persist in the job because their fear dominates. Fear of not getting money, fear of paying bills, that dominates. That's why they don't take this opportunity to quit this job to do something. So he said, okay, but you didn't teach. See, I didn't teach you. Life was teaching you. I was teaching you all the time. See, you have learned this lesson. Okay, but I want a salary hike. Well, no, 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 I'm not going to do this. Okay, so you have to work now this time, and this time without money. Without money? Yes. Do you want to learn or not? But I want to learn. Okay, so you have to do this without work. So they did again, 3 weeks did. So they were again frustrated. They wanted to buy comics and all, but they were not getting even 10 cents. That was to gone. So they thought, what should we do? Suddenly, Mike's father came and offered them ice cream, and then they offered him proposal. Okay, 10 cent was too low, right? What about 25 cents? 25 cents. He was like surprised because कुछ दिनों पहले 10 cent देने में भी इनको माता आ रही थी, and now he's offering 25 cents. How is this possible? He said, Robert said, no, 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 I'm not taking this offer. Okay, he said $1. अब आंखें बड़ी हो गई. Now he wanted to, okay, $1. Still said no. He said $2. Ab, now he could visualize gloves. He can buy gloves. He can buy comics. He can buy bicycle. He can buy so many things. And still he said no. Something in him said no. Then the Mike's father said $5. Still he said. Now he was quiet inside. He said no. So Mike's father said, "This is the second lesson that you have learned: mastery over greed." People are like, oh, this the fear of money dominates them. That's why they go get a job. And greed, that is when they get salary, they try to consume because there is greed. So they are in this constant loophole again and again. They're moving in cycle. They are getting salary, they are getting fear dominated by. So you have mastered this fear and greed. So I am really really very happy. एक शेर है जो इस चीज को बहुत ज्यादा अच्छे से इनकैप्सुलेट करता है कि मैं उम्र पैसों के पीछे भागता रहा, मैं उम्र पैसों के पीछे भागता रहा, जो समझ जाता बारीकी उसकी तो खुशी से जी पाता, जो समझ जाता बारीकी उसकी तो खुशी से जी पाता. He asked कि अब जाओ काम करो. So he said, but we want to get rich. Okay, use this, use your brain, you'll get rich. So they were like working again, but they now wanted to do something. यार comics नहीं पढ़ पा रहे हैं. So they wanted to read comics. So they thought we'll do something. So they had few comics earlier. They are around 100 comics, and they found a basement area in Mike's house. So they appointed Mike's sister as a librarian and formed a mini library of comics right there. Now they were not working, and they put a poster that 20 cents for 2 hours. Whoever wants to read any comic, you can read, just give 20 cents and you can read. So librarian was Mike's sister, and they were working, or they were doing their schooling, and they were doing all their work. But after 3 weeks they found that they had earned $10 each. $5 was the offer, and they had earned $10 each. Now they realized that they didn't have work, right? They didn't work for the library, but they were enjoying themselves, or they're doing something else, but money was there, right? Money was working. So that was the lesson that told them that rich don't work for money, poor work for money. Rich just ensure that money works for them, and this was the first business model that they had devised. After 2 3 weeks they had to shut down, but they had learned important lesson that rich don't work for money, poor works for money. Thank you.
Thank you, Gajendra. Definitely, it was very well presented and explained. The next lesson that we'll be learning is why it is essential for us to learn financial literacy, or why financial literacy is gaining a boom. So, Preeti, now I'll request you to start with lesson 2, that is why teach financial literacy.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Preeti Jain. Let's talk about why teach financial literacy from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Chapter 3, Lesson 2. Why we think personal finance belongs in high school. As a country, despite being educated, we have seen where a lack of personal financial education can lead. Millions of Indians struggle every day with their money, living paychecks to paychecks and relying on credit cards for necessities, only to wind up deep in debt and short on hope. Beyond that, many Indians are finding that they can't buy homes, invest for retirement, or save for their child's college fund because of their own student loan debt, massive car payments, and general lack of financial planning. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? A lot of the money problems Indians are facing could have been avoided if financial literacy was taught earlier in school. That's why we think most schools should offer financial literacy courses as a part of their graduation requirements. The third slide says an asset puts money into your pocket whether you work or not. A liability takes money out of your pocket. In this age, the world changes faster and more frequent than 1991 economic crisis and the pandemic of 2020. What's more important than money to ensure our survival is financial literacy. It's not how much money you make, but it's how much money you keep and how many generations you keep it. The number one rule is you must understand the difference between asset and liability and only buy assets. It's so simple, but why people don't get it? It's because they have been educated by financial planners, bankers, and brokers, so they must empty their cups first. So many people struggle because they buy liabilities, and in order to gain and maintain wealth, you must first build understanding of assets and liabilities. Follow the cash flows, and I'll tell you how a story of a person uses the money. More money doesn't solve problems because their higher income means higher expenses. What is missing from the majority is financial education. That's why you can be professionally successful but financially illiterate. Robert teaches your home is a liability. Why? Because it takes money out of your pocket. taxes, expenses, loss of opportunities when all your money is tied up in your house. And that causes you to lose experience in other investments. That doesn't mean you can't buy a home, but first secure assets that can generate income to pay for the house. What the middle class does is work hard for promotion, resulting in higher taxes. They also treat their home as an asset and do not invest in income producing assets. When assets are big enough to cover your expenses and liabilities, the balance is reinvested back into your assets. Growing your income, that is what the wealthy do. According to Robert's definition, wealthy means when your assets are enough to cover your expenses, you're not rich, but you're wealthy. There are many definitions of wealth, but this is the one that is supported by Robert Kiyosaki and in Rich Dad Poor Dad. Wealth is a person's ability to survive so many number of days forward. Or if I stopped working today, how long could I survive? Now, of course, you can't try to stack up as much cash as possible and survive off a huge lump sum money. However, that is the type of thinking that you should try to avoid. Remember that becoming rich is not all about how much money you can make. It's about how much money you keep to invest in assets that provide continuous cash flow. So the idea is that you should look at the wealth from a cash flow perspective. Wealth is the measure of your cash flow from your assets compared to your expenses. The goal is to build up that asset column to receive income from dividends, royalties, rent revenue, etc. etc. If you can't get your monthly income from your assets to cover your monthly expenses, you can live indefinitely into the future without a job. That is what you call wealthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Priti. So now, next I'll ask Hari to explain lesson 3, mind your own business.
Hello friends, my name is Harisan Saluja and I'm going to discuss chapter 4, Mind Your Own Business, which is also lesson number 3 from our today's book review, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Here Robert gives us a glimpse of 1974 where Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, was asked to speak to the MBA class at the University of Texas where Kate, a dear friend of Robert, was a student. After a powerful and inspiring talk, the students asked Ray to join them to have some beers, to which Ray accepted gracefully. While everyone was having their beers, Ray asked them, "What business am I in?" To which everyone laughed. Ray asked them again, "What business do you think am I in?" To which one of the students replied, "You are in the hamburger business." Ray smiled and said, "No, ladies and gentlemen, I am not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate." Kate said that Ray spent a good amount of time explaining them his viewpoint. In their business plan, Ray's primary focus was to sell McDonald's franchisee, but he also knew that real estate would play a crucial role in it. So they would buy properties, lease them to the franchisee owners at a profit. Today, they are even bigger than the whole Catholic Church in terms of land and property. Here, Keith experienced the most important lesson of his life. Today, Keith owns car washes, but his real business is the real estate under those car washes. In the previous chapters, we all have come across various examples illustrating us that most people work for everyone else but not for themselves. First, they work for the company owner, then for the government to pay off their taxes, and then finally for the bank to pay off their mortgage and loans. As a young boy, Robert's rich dad teaches him exactly the same thing which Ray taught those students. He called it secret number 3 of the rich, and it is mind your own business. Financial struggle is often directly the result of people working all their life for someone else and are left with nothing after retirement. Our current education system is smart enough to trap us in this rat race and prepare us to get a good job by developing our scholastic skills so our life revolves around paycheck to paycheck. And after this, we even go on to pursue our professional abilities. We study hard to become doctors, lawyers, accountants, and so on. Our skill allow us to work for money, but not let the money work for us. Our profession and our business are two different things. When someone asks us, "What is your business?" we say, "Well, I am a banker." Does this really mean we own the bank? No, we only work there. We are confused between our business and our profession. Our profession must be of a banker, but we still need to mind our own business. In case of Ray Kroc, he knew his profession is to sell McDonald franchises, but he also knew his business was to earn profit from real estate. The problem with our school is that we often become what we study. We study law to become a lawyer, accountant to become an accountant, and so on. And suddenly, after study, we mistaken to not mind our own business. We work hard, spending our life to make someone else rich, to become financially independent. We need to start minding our own business. Our focus must be on our asset column and not merely on our income statement. We might have a high paying job, but if we don't have a solid asset column, we are one step away from a big financial trouble. We work hard to get high paycheck jobs as if more money gonna save all our problems. No, not at all. Our problems will only be solved if we have a high, solid income generating asset column. Now coming on to asset. What do you mean by it? Let me think. You must be recalling your house as your biggest asset, but it's not. Your house is your liability because assets create money for you, but your house it takes money out of your pocket. Your maintenance cost, your property tax, your mortgage, your electricity bill all pulls money out of your pocket. So it's a liability for you all. To become financially independent, you need to start investing in real assets such as mutual funds, real estate, business, which could grow over time and do not require money out of your pocket regularly. Hope you all have understood what rich people do. Yes, you're right. They focus on the asset column and not merely on the income statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Harishan. You have actually explained us well about what are actually assets and what are liabilities. So, next we have the history of taxes and power of corporations. Lesson 4, why we need to know about taxes, or why we need to know about a company form of organization rather than just as we pay on an individual basis. So, Medha, you can start with lesson 4.
Why? Because he takes from the rich and distributes among the poor. What if I tell you he did more harm than help to the poor? According to 16th Amendment Act of America, the rich are supposed to pay taxes for the benefit of middle and poor class people. Before this, there were no regular taxes except for occasional taxes paid during wars. What if I tell you again that the rich never pay tax out of their income as a whole? Keep this sentence in your head and I'll come back to this point. Before this, let us analyze a few other concepts. An investor versus a common worker. An investor is investing on a ship voyage and the ship is lost. What does the investor lose? Simple investment money. What do the crew and the staff members lose? Their lives. Who is at a greater loss? The crews and the staff, of course, the workmen. Again, a government employee versus a capitalist. A government employee cannot have that excess of money because that is against his work ethics, efficiency, and dignity. But if he is not having that excess money, his next budget is at risk. As a capitalist, however, you can have as much money as you want because that proves your efficiency. Right? So, coming to an advice which the author's dad gave him, he said, work your way up to a corporate ladder. But the rich dad altered the same advice and said, why not own the ladder itself? And what's the ladder? Corporation. But the car of corporation rests on four wheels, namely accounting, investing, understanding markets, and law. Accounting uses the left side of your brain to have the ability to understand financial statements and to keep the record of financial details. Investment rests on your creative mind, the right side of your brain, and a correct field to choose. To understand the market, you have to understand the need of the time. There was a time when land was very important, the most important asset, and then now there's a time when knowledge and time itself are the most important asset. To understand the need of time and then start marketing. Then we have law. You have to have some legal information about taxes, especially to start a corporation. What is tax advantage for a rich capitalist? I told you, a rich never pays tax out of his income. Yes, he first receives his income. Out of that, he invests some money again, not to say some, but yes, again into his business, and then he is left on with his profit. Out of that, he is paying his tax. And protection from lawsuit says that a rich capitalist might own several properties and say that those are his business asset for business purpose. He might just be on a recreational trip and he might say, I was on a business trip. He is not taxed on those things. A middle class person is not same. So to summarize, a capitalist first invests in his business and then he pays the taxes. But a middle class person first pays the taxes, then he receives his income, and then he is spending on properties, trips, and so on. The rich is never paying tax out of his income. This remains the bottom line. Thank you.
Thank you, Medha. This is a very sad thing that we need to accept. Being a corporate, being a company form of organization is always an advantageous because we pay taxes on profit rather than our income. But in case if we are an employed person working for a company 9 to 5 job, therein we are earning before we get our cash, before we get our hard earned money. We have to, our first TDS gets deducted and then we are left over with the things. Another thing that you highlighted about the business trip and like the foreign trip if we are going, or maybe if we are buying a car, if we have got any repairs to do, I agree to your all your points completely, in a way that there is a difference being an individual working for a company and on the other hand driving a company. So next, lesson 5, the rich invent money. Nitesh, I'll request you to let us know about what lesson 5 teaches us. How can, like, money is something which is made by government, how can the rich invent money? Please highlight.
I would rather be excited about making millions than worrying about not getting a raise. Hi friends, my name is Nitesh Khatri and I am going to discuss lesson 5 from the book which says The Rich Invent Money. In this chapter, the author wants to say that we all have tremendous potential and we all are blessed with gifts. Yet the one thing that holds all of us back is some degree of self-doubt. It is not so much of technical information that holds us back, but more the lack of self confidence. The author also wants to convey that once we leave school, most of us know that it is not as much a matter of college degrees or good grades that count. In the real world, outside of academics, something more than just grades is required. I have heard it called guts, audacity, daring, and brilliance. These factors, whatever it is labeled, ultimately decides one's future much more than school grades. Inside each one of us is one of these brave, brilliant, and daring characters. Yet the author, being a teacher, recognized that it was our excessive fear and self doubt that were the greatest detractors of personal genius. It breaks the heart of the author to see students know the answers, yet lack the courage to act on it. Often, in the real world, it's not the smart that get ahead, but the bold. In the personal experience of the author, your financial genius requires both technical knowledge as well as courage. If the fear is too strong, the genius is suppressed. The author strongly urged students to learn to take risks,
to be bold, to let their genius convert that fear into power and brilliance. The author asks its readers, why take risks? Why should I bother developing my financial IQ? Why should I become financially literate? And he answers, just to have more options. The author describes, I do it because it is the most exciting time to be live. I would rather be excited about making a millions than worrying about not getting a raise. Land was wealth 300 years ago. So the person who owned the land owned the wealth. Then it was factories and production, and America rose to dominance. The industrialists own the wealth. Today it is information, and the person who has the most timely information owns the wealth. The problem is, information flies all around the world at the speed of light. The new wealth cannot be contained by boundaries and borders as land and factories were. The changes will be faster and more dramatic. There will be a dramatic increase in the number of new multimillionaires. The author tells old ideas are the biggest liability. It is a liability simply because they failed to realize that while that idea or way of doing something was an asset yesterday, that yesterday is gone. The author gives an example of a game, Cash Flow, was designed to give every player personal feedback. Its purpose is to give you options. The author informs this game is played by more than 1,000 people. The people who get out of the rat race in the game quickest are the people who understand numbers and have creative financial minds. They recognize differential financial option. People who take the longest are not familiar with numbers and often do not understand the power of investing. Rich people are often creative and take calculated risk. There have been people playing cash flow who gains lots of money in the game, but they don't know what to do with it. Most of them have not been financially successful in real life either. Everyone else seems to be getting ahead of them, even though they have money. And that is true in real life. There are a lot of people who have a lot of money and do not get ahead financially. With this, I would like to conclude my lesson, which says the rich invent money. Thank you.
Thank you, Nitesh. So now at least I get some idea about how they are inventing money by taking calculated risk, by developing a financial IQ, by becoming financially literate. We have got various ways in which we can become financially literate, and this is something that we cannot ignore. And we should be actually focusing ourselves, irrespective of the stream that we take in. We are or not on accounting and finance student. Financial literacy is a very basic thing, and as the new education system gets rolled out, I guess this is something which is going to be emphasized more in detail. So now I'll request Ruchi Jha to explain us lesson 6, that is work to learn, don't work for money. But this is something I personally believe in. I have always focused towards learning new things, and money is something, my pay or my promotion, I have seen that compared to my age, not to be boasting enough, but compared to the age, because my focus has always been towards learning, I have seen getting promotions for which the other people have waited for years, just because they were focusing more on money, and my focus more was towards proving myself, learning new things, and giving the best to the organization. So, Ruchi, over to you. In case you are coming up for video, I'll just help you present.
So, so, job security meant everything to my educated dad. Learning meant everything to my rich dad. Hi everyone, this is Ruchi Jha, and I'm here to explain chapter 6 of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, which says, "Work to learn, don't work for money." From the title itself, we get that the author is about to say that we should work for learning, not as the ma'am said also that learning is something which helps to grow money as well. So, but nowadays what happen is all of us work for earned money. You know, we go to a job. What the first thing we matter is the salary, like how much he's gonna offer us for doing something, and the second thing which matter is again the salary, like what's the package of the thing and anything, how we are gonna own this thing, but no one focuses on what are we gonna learn. So let's start with the story. So Robert was giving an interview, and there, I guess a reporter asked him, like, how to become a perfect, a best-selling author like him. So, sorry, best writing author like him. But then the Robert said, I'm not a best writing author, but I am the best selling author. So he asked her to actually join a course, sales management course, to actually complete, to make his book the bestseller. So she didn't like the offer. She said, I don't like salesperson. When someone comes at my home and asks me to do something, I hate the thing. So I'm not gonna learn that. So he says, at that time he said, like, this is the thing which most of people lack. Yeah, that's true. Most of people lack that. They don't like learning. If they are good at something, they are good at something. They don't want to explore on things. They don't want to. They are just like, I want to be specialized in one thing, nothing else. So specialization is good, but at a level, according to him, if you learn few things more, that's not gonna harm you, but definitely it's gonna help you grow your money. So as we all know the spelling of learning, that's Learning, and earning Earning. So we all know that if you learn, earning is gonna come, and earning is natural, it's gonna come. So what matters is learning. So according to this chapter, that's my view on work to learn and don't work for money. So thank you.
Thank you, Ruchi. Next, we have, like, if we just go through, we have learned 5 lessons till now. I'll take you through it quickly before we can move ahead, and I can give the control to Khushi. Before that, just let me take you through the lessons that we have learned so far. So, one was why we need to teach financial literacy. One, Gajendra has discussed with us. Then, lesson 3, mind your own business. Business can again be a profession as well. So we need to be sure of what we are doing. People thought he was into hamburger business. That is what they used to think. But he was actually into the real estate business. Then we have history of taxes, how companies make benefit, how companies are at advantage compared to individuals. We learned about accounting and everything, like why basic knowledge of accounting is needed. Then Nitesh taught us about how rich are inventing money by becoming financially
अभी
literate.
लाइट है.
And then is lesson 6, which says learn. So in learn itself, we find that the earning thing is there, right? So we have got good number of lessons that we have learned today. But then even if we know the lessons, there will be still few obstacles or few things which will still trigger us, which will still bother us. So Khushi, I'll request you to please explain us what do you think or what is your opinion. Uh, how can what are the obstacles or how can we overcome those obstacles?
Hello everyone, I am Khushi Gupta and I am going to discuss on how to overcome the obstacles. In this story, Robert Kiyosaki talked about how to overcome the obstacles and how it can stop even those who are financially literate to achieve great wealth. The chapter is divided into 5 sections, each covering the following obstacles, that is fear, cynicism, laziness, arrogance, and bad habits. The first obstacle is the fear of losing money. Everyone has it, even the rich fears to lose money. Um, but it's not the fear that is the problem. It's how one handle fear. It's how one handle losing, and it's how one handle failure. And this is what makes a difference in one's life. However, one should not let that fear stop him from succeeding in life. According to Robert Kiyosaki, around 90% of people, American public struggles because they play not to lose. They don't play to win. The only way playing not to lose can be a successful strategy um, if one starts investing really early, and if not, then you have no choice but to take on more risks. In Kiyosaki's words, but you should put a lot of your eggs in a few baskets instead of putting a few of your eggs in a lot of baskets. When people invest money, they cling to safety and try to keep a balanced, diverse portfolio. Though it is better than not having an investment portfolio at all, but Kiyosaki mentioned that the most successful people like Bill Gates, Thomas Edison, George Soros, and Donald Trump generally have to focus and go off balance first to be able to go anywhere. If someone dreams of getting out of the rat race, the first question to ask yourself is, how do I respond to failure? If failure inspires you to win, then you should go for it, but only maybe. If failure makes you weak or causes you to throw temper tantrums, like spoiled brats, then you should play it safe. Now, I come up to the second obstacle, that is cynicism. Most of us know the story of Chicken Little, who ran around the barnyard crying out about the impending doom after an acorn fell on her head. In this story, the sky is not falling, of course, but to Chicken Little, facts didn't matter. Rather than to investigate and learn what was happening, she got panicked and spread her fears to others. All of us know that who are Chicken Little around us. And if we are honest enough, we also know that we have an inner Chicken Little which comes out in the face of fear and doubt. If you have any hope of becoming rich or successful in life, then you should first um, overcome this cynicism problem in life. When it comes to money, we often play the what if game. We ask questions like what if the economy crashes after I invest money? What if things don't go as planned? What if I lose control and can't pay the money back? These words of doubt often distracts us from the great opportunities in front of us. So, in order to be rich, this what if game should be replaced by what is. The rich dad says that cynics criticize and winners analyze. When Robert used to speak to people about that he wants to invest in real estate, the people used to say that they are not interested in real estate because they don't want to fix toilets. These are the words of a cynic and a critic. These are the words of someone who can't see a big picture. The rich finds a way to make their I don't wants into a key for success, and the cynics finds excuses. The third obstacle is laziness. Laziness has always been one of the most negative qualities that a person can have. However, there are times when people do not realize that laziness is taken over them. People use this excuse to avoid dealing with marriages, health, finances, or any other issues that are important and deserves attention. According to Robert, the key to overcome laziness is to maintain a certain level of greed or desire. Though greed is generally considered a bad thing by most people, but it can motivate us to past procrastination and laziness. Now I'm coming up with the fourth obstacle, that is bad habits. Bad habits are truly creatures of human. Habits control behavior. Kiyosaki states that our habits are even more important in deciding our success than our education. One of the most important habits that he mentioned is paying yourself first. For example, most people pay their bills first before they pay themselves. The result is that they are left with a very little amount of money at the end of the month for investing for themselves. On the other hand, um, paying yourself first, even if you don't have enough money to pay other people, makes you financially stronger, mentally and physically. When you develop the habit of paying yourself first, you become motivated by the fear of not being able to pay to the creditors. In turn, you begin looking for other forms of income like investment in real estate. Now, the last and the fifth obstacle is arrogance. Arrogance is often the result of someone trying to ignore the ignorance. The problem is that what you don't know can cost you a lot. It can also shield our eyes to opportunities that can be uncovered through study and research. So, if you don't know something, start educating yourself and by finding an expert in the field. Thank you.
So, Ruchi, can you help us with this part, like how we can improve on ourselves? How can we get started?
There's gold everywhere. Most people are not trained to see it. Hi everyone, this is Ruchi Jha, a blogger, and I'm back again with chapter 9, Getting Started. It is easy to find great deals. It's just like riding a bike. After a little wobbling, it's a piece of cake. But when it comes to money, it takes determination to get through the wobbling. So this chapter includes 10 points suggested by Robert to be a financial genius. The first point is find a reason greater than reality. The power of spirit. Who doesn't want to be rich? Who in the world don't need money? Almost every one of us. But we turn away as the path seems very difficult to us. A reason or a purpose is a combination of wants and don't wants, just like Robert's reason for wanting to be rich. Robert don't wanted to work for others. He didn't like being an employee. He didn't wanted to pay to government most of his earnings, just like his father. Robert wants to be free to travel the world while at young age and live the lifestyle he loves. He wanted to be free at 40. Becoming rich wasn't easy, but it wasn't that hard either. But if Robert hadn't had a strong reason behind it, it would have been incredibly difficult. So let's come up with the next point. Make daily choices. The power of choice. You have the choice every day, whether to be rich, poor, or middle class. Your spending habits reflects who you are. Robert chooses to be rich and makes that choice every day. When you learn something new, you often make mistakes to fully understand it. Arrogant or critical people are afraid of taking risks, so they often won't listen to experts. Listen, learn, take a long view of wealth, not a get rich quick mentality. Invest in your mind before investing in stock or real estate. The third point is choose friends carefully. The power of association. Robert learns from all his friends, both those who have money, seeking their knowledge, and those who struggle financially. The later group teaches him what not to do. Robert wants us to not to listen to poor or frightened people. Be true to yourself, but don't go along with the crowd. This can be one of the hardest part of wealth building. You want to hear about the next boom? Get in and then get out before the next pass. That's what friends are for, and that's what financial intelligence is. The fourth point, master a formula and then learn a new one. The power of learning quickly. Be careful what you learn because you become what you put in your head. Many colleges have classes on financial planning and buying traditional investment. It's a good place to start, but Robert is always searching for a faster formula. He says that that's why he can make more money in a day than anyone else. And it's not about faster formulas, but also about learning new formulas faster. So, that's the fifth point. Pay yourself first. The power of self discipline. The world pushes you around and puts pressure on you. And if you don't have the tolerance for financial pressure, you'll never become rich. Robert teaches students in his entrepreneurship classes that the three most important management skills to start a business, and that are management of cash flow, management of people, and personal time. These apply to everyone, not just entrepreneurs, and each of these skills is enhanced by the mastery of self discipline. Life was meant to be enjoyed. If you call on your financial genius, you can have all the goodies of life, get rich, and pay bills. The sixth point is pay your brokers well. The power of good advice. Information is priceless. A good broker should provide you with information as well as making you money. Learn from them. In truth, what you pay them is tiny in comparison with what kind of money you can make with the information they give you. Not all brokers are created equal. Interview them and find out how much property or investments they own. Find one who has the best interest at heart and treat him or her fairly. The seventh point, be an Indian giver, the power of getting something for nothing. In terms of investing and the asset column, it's a key to be an Indian giver, that is, getting your initial investment back and quickly. For each investment, Robert says there must be an upside, something for free like mini storage, a piece of free land, stock shares, a house, etc. And there must be a limited risk too. So, the eighth point, use assets to buy luxuries, the power of focus. Robert loves luxuries as much as the next person, but he won't borrow them for money. Instead, focusing on the asset column to create the money to buy those luxuries. Developing cash flows from an asset column is easy in theory. What's hard is the mental fortitude to direct money to correct use. Borrowing money is easy in the short term, but hard in the long term. Two, the ninth point, which includes, is choose heroes, the power of truth. One of the most powerful ways we learn as children is pretending to be our heroes. Robert had his heroes like Warren Buffett, Willie Mays, Trump, etc. By having heroes, we tap into their genes, and because they make it look easy, they inspire us to try. Now we come to the last but not the least point, teach and you shall receive, the power of giving. Robert learned from Rich Dad to give money and as well as education. He would say, if you want something, you first need to give. When he was short of money, he gave to his church or his favorite charity. The more you teach, the more you learn. Both of Robert's dad proved that. Be generous with what you have and make sure you're giving for the joy that giving itself brings, not giving simply to receive. Thank you.
So, Rachi, before you go out, I have one question for you. Out of the points, like this 10 points at a time becomes little heavy for me to digest. Can you highlight, say, 3 to 4 points which you personally believe in or you have been doing it? Any 3 or 4 points which you would want to highlight?
So basically, the second point I believe very much, that is make daily choices, the power of choice. Sometimes what happen is we choose to be poor. Like sometimes ऐसा भी होता है कि हमें कोई चीज़ लेनी है and what we decide is no, we don't have money, we should not take this. But what we can do is either of collecting money or getting money from somewhere, having this opportunity or thinking of getting the thing back. What we do is we generally forget the thing and just lean back to our bed sleeping. So what
Hmm.
the thing is, when that is the time we choose to be poor, तो उस टाइम अगर हम लोग उस चीज़ को थोड़ा इफेक्ट डालते हैं या फिर उस चीज़ के
हाँ.
लिए थोड़ी सी और चीज़ें करते हैं, तो शायद तक ऐसा होता है कि वो चीज़ें कि आपके पास कोई ना कोई रास्ता खुल जाता है. द नेक्स्ट
मतलब
पॉइंट विच इज फाइंड अ रीजन ग्रेटर देन रियलिटी. ऑब्वियसली बात है, हम जिस दिन हम लोग सोचते हैं वही छोटा होता है. We always plan to get, like as in the first chapter I guess we have discussed, like we always plan to get work in somewhere. Like I want to work in this company, I want to work in Microsoft or else anything. We don't think that we also want to own a company like Microsoft. If we think like that, maybe the circumstances and things would be different. But I think अगर हम छोटा ही सोचेंगे तो फिर बड़ा होने का तो चांस कम हो जाता है. So I think we should have at least big ideas. uh, I don't know what's gonna execute or happen or not, but thinking big is one of the best thing from
true,
this.
true. Thank you. So, Siddhant, I'll request you to take us, like, what are the final findings, what are the final things that you would want to conclude with? What are the things we need to focus on?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Siddhant Sinha. And the basic thing, there are 10 points which I like to conclude in this one. Stop doing what you are doing. So that doesn't basically mean you just stop there and left their job, all these things. That doesn't mean that. It
Okay.
actually means if you are doing something, you should know why you are doing, what is its benefit, what is its loss. All these things you have to consider it before doing anything. Basically, I shared status few days ago, like one job, one identity. It's like if you are totally dependent on your job, someday or the other, like right now, COVID-19 is going on, and people are losing their jobs, and that totally because of the fact that they have their single. If people have their single income, then it's like they are in a rat. They are a rat sitting inside a jar. They're trapped. They don't have choices to do what they wanted to do. They had choices. If they had made a correct choice at a correct point of time, they might have left the rat race. So that's what I am saying, that stop doing what you are doing right now and just think about things when yourself. If you think you are going in the wrong path, then you should consider it once again. Look for the new ideas. You should always look for the new ideas. It's always better to learn something new. Like in the beginning, my hobbies was guitar. I also played badminton. I was an inter-school cricket captain. Then I started National Maths Olympiad. I ranked third in International Maths Olympiad in 2013. And like this, I've been doing it for so long. And right now, I'm a full stack developer, though I'm a mechanical engineer. So these things, you should try everything and stick to the point in which you are best at. So that's the main point. Find someone who has done what you wanted to do. Find someone. So like-minded people are usually more important in your life. You don't want someone who will always be degrading you in every point of time. Like you want someone who will be thinking that, yeah, this idea can work, this thing can work, who will motivate you, who will always wanted you on the upper side, not was someone who will always be criticizing others, who will always saying that you can't do this, you can't do that, like that kind of a thing. Take classes, read, attend seminars. Like you are reading, you might have learned a lot of things through this seminar, I guess, and I hope that you might have learned and make a lot of offers. Yeah, you should make a lot of offers. Like you should be kind of, you should do a lot of things. You should not be stick to a
Bargaining.
particular thing. Just jog, walk, drive in an area once in a month for 10 minutes. Yeah, you should do that for your health benefit. Every part of aspect you should be doing. Stop for bargain in all markets. Stop for bargains in all markets. You should know which place is best for the right thing. You should know what to bargain and what's not to. Look for the right place. Look for the people who wants to buy first, then look for someone who wants to sell. Think big. Like I already mentioned it before, you should know what you are doing. You should think about the bigger picture, like after 5 or 10 years, where you will be, what will the benefit you are getting from these things you are doing now. learn from your history. The best thing is life itself is a lesson. As if you are from the beginning, you are always learning. So this is the experience is also a part of our learning. Action always beats inaction.
Hi guys, I hope you must have liked our initiative of one book at 1 hour. We'll keep coming with a new novel every week. Please like and share our video and do subscribe to our channel. Thank you for associating with us. Have a good day.